Hi, my name is Clara Cheeks. My family and I are here to tell the story of the death of James Cheeks by Lucinda Wynn of Rockford, Illinois. The system says you're innocent until proven guilty. In James Cheeks' case, Lucinda Wynn won the case, and my family and I believe that justice was not rendered in this case. We believe that jury and judge has yet to determine upon pure question of the law and all evidence. The people involved in the death of Mr. Cheeks was Lucinda Wynn. Miss Wynn called Mr. Cheeks' son Siegfried and stated to him that she had given his father a ride to the hospital and he died. We later found out that that was untrue. We found out later that Mr. Cheeks passed at Miss Lucinda Wynn's home and his body was transferred from her home directly to the mortuary and immediately cremated. Also, she stated that Mr. Cheeks and her had worked together for like 37 years. We also found out that was untrue. On April the 17th of 2010, Mrs. Wynn and some family members abducted Mr. Cheeks from his home late that night, and 5 days later, Mr. Cheeks was deceased. Also, Olson Mortuary, when we went to visit with them, they told us that Mr. Cheeks had came into their establishment by himself and paid for his services, which that was untrue also because the check that was written to them was written by Lucinda Wynn and also signed by Lucinda Wynn. And the gentleman that works for Olson Mortuary stated that Mr. Cheeks wrote the check and signed it, which that was untrue also. The Belvedere Cemetery, we spoke to the owners of Belvedere Cemetery, and they stated that Mr. Cheeks purchased a plot from them, which he did over the telephone. She says that Mr. Cheeks called her and purchased the plot over the phone and mailed her a check. She has absolutely nothing on Mr. Cheeks, not a file at all, not a signature, nothing, not even a canceled check to show that Mr. Cheeks purchased the plot from her. And Mr. Cheeks was a smart businessman, and he would not have purchased a plot over the phone. My son's attorney also was involved, and his address is in Maywood, Illinois, on Lake Street. We also found out about him that his license had been suspended in 1988, and there was another person complaining that he had misrepresented her. And also, to this day, I've asked this gentleman for Mr. Cheeks' file, and to this day, we have not received Mr. Cheeks' file, but he claims he mailed it to a different attorney that we were talking to. Also, Lucinda Wynn's attorney is an attorney that she's been knowing since she was 15 years of age, and she's now 70. This gentleman says that Mr. Cheeks came into his establishment and made a will, and he notarized it, and he signed it. The will that they have is not the signature of Mr. Cheeks on that will. At the time, they're saying that Mr. Cheeks was in their office making a will. Mr. Cheeks would have been getting his medical treatments. So it's no way he could have possibly been in their office making a will. Also, the Rockford Police Department, I've been there several times. I talked to the chief of police, and the chief of police told me and my family that he wasn't interested. He didn't want to see the information I had, and did not want to talk about it also, even though one of his lieutenants had already told me that he thought Mr. Cheeks' death was suspicious to him, and also he was the one that told me that Mr. Cheeks' body was left Miss Lucinda Wynn's home and went directly to the mortuary. And then I contacted the Rockford Police Department recently, asking them for information about the case, and they said they had nothing on file about Mr. Cheeks at all. And I've had meetings with the Rockford Police Department. Actually, I've been there at least 6 times, me and my family, speaking with them. Also, at the prosecuting attorney's office, I spoke with those people there, One person in the prosecuting attorney office, when she asked me who was my attorney, I told her, she stated to me, Miss Cheeks, oh, you had a bad attorney. He has a reputation of selling his clients out, exactly like he did you. And they told me, Mrs. Cheeks, you have a lot of information here, and we better get on this case right away. Only to come back 5 or 6 months later to tell us that we didn't have any information. And I've contacted several state representatives. I've had some to tell me that it's criminal, but they don't want to get involved, and they're not going to help me with it. Now, this was the gentleman from the state police department that told me that. Lieutenant Welch of the Rockford Police Department told me Mr. Cheeks' death was suspicious to him also. But as at this moment, Lieutenant Welch of the Rockford Police Department no longer works for the Rockford Police Department. He has retired. Also, I would like any of the citizens of Rockford, Illinois, if you have any complaints about the Rockford Police Department, there is a number you can call and report it. The number is 202-353-1555, and you can talk to a recording. They won't answer the phone. You can't talk to a person. It's a recording, but you can leave your message and your statement about the Rockford Police Department if you've had any problems with them at all. And also, I have court file documents where they state that my son was in court when he wasn't. I have also copies of his job. Gave us a copy of the time sheets where he would have been at work and he couldn't have been in court in Rockford. We also have court file documents where my son's signature has been forged, documents where Mr. Cheeks' signature has been forged. Also, we have a will that was admitted into court with the signature, with no signature and no date. It was admitted into court. And we also have another will that was admitted into court, and that signature on that will is not the will of Mr. James Cheeks, and it is not the will that he had expressed to his family in the way that he was leaving his will if something happens to him. Mr. Cheeks was a gentleman that was up and about, getting his treatments, trying to live. And this happened to him, and his death is definitely suspicious. Thank you for listening to my story. We appreciate you very much, and have a good day.